हेलो फ्रेंड्स, वेलकम टू आवर यूट्यूब चैनल। आज के इस वीडियो में आरआरबी मिनिस्ट्रियल और आइसोलेटेड का जो एग्ज़ाम हुआ था उसमें पीआरटी पेपर का जो पीआरटी टीचर का एग्ज़ाम हुआ था उसका ये क्वेश्चन आंसर है, जिसकी आंसर की आई है वो मैं यहाँ पे अपलोड कर रही हूँ, जिसमें 1 बाय 1 टू लेके 100 तक क्वेश्चन को हम पूरा आंसर भी देखेंगे। ठीक है, चलिए स्टार्ट करते हैं। Question number 1. What is the primary development task of middle children? Correct option will be integration within individual and social context. Question number 2. For effective holistic development, what is primary emphasis for parents and teacher in education? Collaborative support. Third, which principle should guide the selection of instructional resources? Alignment with learning objective and learner needs. Next question. A school leader organizes workshops with teacher, parents, students to draft a shared long-term vision, get measurable goals, and align resources for continuous improvement. This reflects a vision building and strategy school development. According to Piaget, which stage involves logical thinking about concrete events but not abstract reasoning, so concrete operations. Transformational leadership in school primarily aims at inspiring changes through vision and motivation. Which of the following is not a key function of counseling in school? Imposing strict discipline policies. Which of the following is a major function of transformational leadership? Developing a widely shared vision and consensus on goals. Which of the following is the primary aim of guidance and counseling in supporting students' holistic development? When provisioning for counseling in school, which consideration is most essential? Confidentialities and trust between student and counselor. What term describes the transitional period between children and adulthood? It's adolescence. In the first step of measurement, what is actually measured? The quality or attribute of a person. What is primary purpose of clearing, linking lesson objective to broader competencies and curricular goals in instructional planning? Achieving defined learning standards. Which of the following shows individual difference in development rate and capacity vary per child? A teacher wants to ensure alignment between long-term goals and daily classroom teaching. Which sequence of instructional plans shows the correct hierarchy? Year plan, unit plan, then lesson plan. A person plan student-led clubs and counseling to address peer conflict and absenteeism. Which principle best supports this? Social engagement build in identity and autonomy. In constructivism, teaching, reflection, and dialogues are mainly used for which purpose? Encouraging learners to co construct knowledge. Which of the following does not represent a characteristic of academic disciplines? Depending mainly on common sense explanation. Next, according to World Health Organization, adequate adolescence institutional support should integrate mental health services, life skill education, and community participation. Which statement best shows that development is continuous? Early skills affect the later abilities. Why is school described as a miniature society? Because children from diverse backgrounds learn to adjust to society. Which of the following best explain the role of ICT in mass communication? ICT means quickly through media. What is considered a foundational element for motivating students to learn effectively in classroom? Teacher student trust. The head teacher practicing distributed leadership mainly shares leadership with faculty to develop the roles. What is a schema? A mental map of concept. A college student joins a fraternity and learns the organization specific rituals, rules, and history. What is the process best describes as secondary socialization? Which of the following does the overt curriculum primarily refers to? The official and formally documented learning plan. Which statement best differentiate assessment for learning and from assessment as learning? The former guides instruction while the latter builds metacognition. During adolescence, which developmental task is most critical according to Erickson? The identity and role confusion. Which of the following values does a child primarily learn within the family? Core values like cooperation, tolerance, and love. Which of the following reflects peer observation? A colleagues observing and sharing insights. A fundamental vision of NEP 2020 for the Indian education system is to ensure that quality education reaches every citizen. What core principle underpins this broad objective for all learners? Equitable inclusions. Which of the following is an example of health behavior adopted during adolescence that affect the latter life? Tobacco use. A rural primary school aims for FLN by grade 3 under NEP 2020 to restore engagement and conceptual understanding beyond textbook, which pedagogy should be adopted. Experiential learning. Why should a teacher have a precise profile of each learner to plan remediation and enrich effectively? Which of the following is most inclusive practice in school for addressing disability as a social construct? Universal design for learning approaches. A family is recognized as a primary agent of socialization. This designation is fundamentally based on its unique and pervasive influence in a child's early life. Which of the following best describes the family's core contribution to a child's social development? Transmitting fundamental values. Investing in adolescent health reduce both morbidity and mortality in adolescence. Which of the following best distinguishes syllabus from curriculum? Syllabus is a subject specific and curriculum is a broader. Next. A constructivism teacher in a diverse classroom ensure inclusivity primarily by allowing learner to construct meaning through varied culture experience. The school assembly is most effective when it promotes moral values and collective identity among students. Zone of proximal development means a child can do with help. Which core principle primarily guides the National Education Policy 2020 reconstructing of the education system into 5334 designing child development? What is the primary role students are expected to assume in a modern teaching learning process? Active learner. A teacher uses reinforcement schedule to shape desired classroom behavior. Which practice does this directly reflect? Behaviorism. Which of the following best define a developmental task? A task that arises at a particular life stage. A teacher wants to maximize long-term learning in a mixed ability class. Which strategy is more effective? The scaffolded, sequent with assessment and collaboration. Why is planning important in teaching learning activities? To provide direction and clear goals. A leader who motivates teacher by creating a shared vision of school pro improvement and inspiring collective commitment is practicing which of the following? Transformational leadership. Homeschool discontinuity occurs when there is a difference between home and school ethos, norms, and languages. The second edition of Khelo India Para Games, which is part of Khelo India mission to provide a platform for talented athletes to showcase their sporting and competitive skills, was held in how many disciplines in New Delhi in March 2025? 6. Which of the following act allowed the court of director to manage the commercial affairs but created a new body called Board of Control to manage the political affairs? Pitt's India Act 1784. Okay, next question. A child has delayed growth and short stature due to the suspected hormone deficiency controlling body growth. Which gland is likely not producing enough of the hormones? Okay, and correct answer will be pituitary. Next, which of the following statements is true about the relationship between an object weight and its mass? It's at a given place. Weight is directly proportional to mass. Okay. Which of the following amendment of the Constitution of India deleted the right to property from the list of fundamental rights? 44th Amendment Act 1978. Which of the following types of poultry is especially bred and raised primarily for meat production? Okay, broilers. When white light passes through a prism, which color is deviated the most with respect to the incident ray? The correct option will be violet. Each vowel in the voyage is changed to the letter immediately following it in the English alphabetical order, and each consonant is changed to the letter immediately preceding it. English alphabetical order. Which of the following letter will appear exactly twice in the group of letters thus formed? Option will be F. Find the value of the expression if x is equal to 2. If here अगर यहाँ पे x की वैल्यू 2 रखेंगे तो 7 + 2 9 हो जाएगा। 9 में 3 का मल्टीप्लाई कर देंगे तो 9 3 27 हो जाएगा। ऊपर 27 हो जाएगा, नीचे 2 2 4, 4 में से 1 गया 3, ऊपर 27, नीचे 3, 3 से डिवाइड कर देंगे, आ जाएगा आंसर 9, 3 9 27। Which of the following statement is true regarding the Industrial Policy Resolution 1956? No new industry could operate without government licensing. This policy aimed to foster industrial growth in backward area. Industrial units in backward areas were given certain concessions such as tax benefit and electricity at a lower tariff. Okay, the statement A will be true. The option will be A, B, C, तीनों true है. Find the mean proportion to 0.55 and 125. इन दोनों को मल्टीप्लाई करके एक्स स्क्वायर की इक्वेट कर देंगे, फिर एक्स की वैल्यू निकाल लेंगे. ओके. The Defense Research and मतलब DRDO conducted 2 consecutive successive flight tests of which missile from Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Island off the coast of Odisha on 28th and 29th of July 2025. It's Pralay. After fertilization, the ovary of flowers develops into fruit and the ovule develops into seed. Okay. In certain code language, song card flash is coded as NGNRIC and card king tent is coded as TFMANR. How is card coded in the given language? Okay. It is NR. If A stand for divide, B stand for multiply, C stand for plus, and D stand for minus, then what will be the value of the following equation? The correct option will be 35, option D. Which of the following is not product of the reaction between सोडियम सल्फेट एंड बैरियम क्लोराइड? सोडियम सल्फेट अगर बैरियम क्लोराइड से रिएक्ट करेगा तो BaSO4 बनेगा और साथ में NaCl बनेगा, Na2SO4 नहीं बनता है, तो ऑप्शन सी जो है वो करेक्ट हो जाएगा. What will be come in the place of the question mark if plus and minus interchange and into and divide are interchange? ठीक है, जब इंटरचेंज कर देंगे तो 20 इंटू 4 डिवाइडेड बाई 8. ठीक है, तो इसका आंसर आ जाएगा 10. विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग स्टेटमेंट इज नॉट करेक्ट रिगार्डिंग द कमिटी ऑफ पब्लिक अंडरटेकिंग ऑफ पार्लियामेंट? इट हैज़ टोटल ऑफ 30 मेंबर्स. ये बात गलत है. For a given medium, a sound wave has frequency 3 kHz and a wavelength of 15 cm. How much time it will take to travel 9 kilometer? Okay, answer will be 20 seconds. Next question. A shopkeeper bought a television for 18,000, spent 2,000 on transportation and repair and sold it at 25,000. What is the profit percent? तो 18,000 में 2,000 जोड़ देंगे, ये हो जाएगा 20,000. 25,000 में बेच दिया, 5,000 का फ़ायदा हो गया 20,000 पे. ठीक है, 18,000 पे उसको डिवाइड कर देंगे, आ जाएगा आंसर 25%. Which sport is associated with national champion called संतोष ट्रॉफी? फुटबॉल. इसका आंसर ए हो जाएगा. SDG क्लाइमेट एक्शन जो है वो 13 SDG है. द नंबर इज डिविजिबल बाई 89. The particle of colloid are uniformly spread through the solution. A colloidal solution is the heterogeneous mixture, for example milk. ठीक है, दोनों ऑप्शन सही है. बोथ स्टेटमेंट्स आर ट्रू. A car travels 80 km at 40 km per hour or 60 km at 30 km per hour. What is the average speed? Total distance upon total speed. ठीक है, टोटल स्पीड करेंगे और टोटल स्पीड से माइनस कर देंगे 35 km per hour. ठीक है, इसको सिंप्लीफाई करेंगे तो इसका आंसर 11 आएगा. और द रेशियो ऑफ वॉल्यूम ऑफ स्फीयर टू इट्स सरफेस एरिया. वॉल्यूम ऑफ स्फीयर आप सभी को पता है 4/3 पाई आर क्यूब होता है. सरफेस एरिया 4 पाई आर स्क्वायर होता है. उन दोनों को डिवाइड कर देंगे तो आंसर आपका 1764 पाई आ जाएगा. Which revolt is considered the first major challenge to British authority in Bengal? Sannyasi Rebellion, 1763-1800. Water can exist in 3 states of matter. ठीक है, ice, water and water vapor. Some vegetables are nut, all fruits are nut. Some vegetables are fruit, all nuts are fruit. तो ना ही कंक्लूजन फर्स्ट सही है, ना ही कंक्लूजन सेकंड सही है. ओके, सर्टेन कोड्स है. इसका आंसर फ्रॉक को ये लिख सकते हैं, ग्रो को ये लिख सकते हैं. तो व्हाट इज़ द कोड ऑफ W? ठीक है, यहाँ से निकाल लेंगे. FROG का दिया हुआ है, ROG इसमें दिया है, W जो इकलौता बचता है 5632. 532 है, यहाँ से G एक्स्ट्रा बच गया, सॉरी W एक्स्ट्रा बच गया, तो इसका 8 हो जाएगा. Which factor contributes to the slow implementation of rural infrastructure project in India? Difficulties in land acquisition and bureaucratic delays. Which European power was the first to establish trading post in India? It is Portuguese. What is the name of the region of the Great Plain where Ganga and Yamuna meet? प्रयागराज. ये सिटिंग अरेंजमेंट का क्वेश्चन है, इसको सॉल्व करके आपको देखना पड़ेगा. ये भी इसका क्यू इसी आंसर है. एल से ई और क्यू पे पहुंच जाएगा. नेक्स्ट ये बॉक्स अरेंजमेंट है और ये भी रीजनिंग का क्वेश्चन है. आप इसको चेक कर लेना, देख लेना. मनप्रीत इन्वेस्टेड इतना ऑन सिंपल इंटरेस्ट फॉर 3 years एट द रेट इतना. व्हाट इज़ द फाइनल अमाउंट रिसीव्ड बाय मनप्रीत? ठीक है, सबसे पहले पी एस आई निकाल लेंगे। एस आई इज इक्वल टू पी इंटू आर इंटू टी करके एस आई निकल जाएगा। फिर एस आई में ये प्रिंसिपल अमाउंट 8550 ऐड कर देंगे तो 10,345 आएगा। इंडस्ट्रियल एंड कमर्शियल ग्रीन बेल्ट्स आर द एग्जाम्पल ऑफ विच फॉरेस्ट्री? अर्बन फॉरेस्ट्री। In June-July 2025, user trials of extended-range anti-submarine rocket were successfully carried out from a fifth Indian Navy ship, that is INS Kavaratti. In 2025, which court Delhi passed an order to relocate all its raised docks in Delhi NCR to shelter within 8 weeks? This is the Supreme Court of India. ठीक है, इसको सॉल्व कर लेंगे। इसको सॉल्व करेंगे, इसका आंसर 9 आ जाएगा। ये भी आपका रीजनिंग का क्वेश्चन है, इसको सॉल्व करेंगे। ऑप्शन सी सही है, बाकी सब आउट हो जाएंगे। इसमें भी आपको रीजनिंग का ही क्वेश्चन है, इसको आप चेक कर लीजिएगा। इसी टाइप के क्वेश्चन रिपीट होता है बार बार। ठीक है, ये मीडियन दिया है। ठीक है, मीडियन आपको ऐसे करके निकाल लेना है। ये टैंक वाला क्वेश्चन एक है, इसका आंसर 7:1/4 आएगा। सॉरी, 7:1/4 सही है। ठीक है, ये भी रीजनिंग का क्वेश्चन है। ड्यूरिंग इनहेलेशन विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग प्रोसेस ऑकर्स? इसमें से कौन सा होता है? तो रिब्स मूव्स अप एंड डायफ्राम फ्लैटन। ओके, और इसी के साथ ये पेपर ख़त्म होता है। आई होप आज का सेशन आपको पसंद आया होगा। बीच में आपको कोई भी डाउट क्वेरी है तो आप कमेंट बॉक्स में कमेंट करके बता सकते हैं। अगर चैनल पर नए हैं तो चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कर दें, ताकि इसी तरीके से हम आपकी मदद करते रहें और आपको लाइव अपडेट देते रहें। थैंक यू सो मच।